Hey everybody, and welcome to Marley and Me, the podcast where I, Marley Lingle, talk about the people of Kennett Square and their stories. Our very first guest is an incredible person. She is a KHS alumni, a Division II college wrestler, and has so many medals that I can barely count them. And trust me, I tried. Haylie Jaffe. How are you doing today, Haylie?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me on
Yeah,
this podcast.
of course. Are you ready to get into some questions?
Yes.
All right. So, what age did you start wrestling, and what was like the reason you started?
So I started wrestling when I was about 12 years old. I was about to turn 13, and I had wanted nothing to do with wrestling, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I was very into gymnastics and dance and more like, I guess, girl dominated sports. And then my brother wanted to wrestle so badly, so my dad let him wrestle, and he wrestled for about a month. And then he would always just like play around with me, and he like would kind of beat up on me. My dad was like, he didn't want to, like, he wanted me to fight back, kind of. So, and my dad also wrestled for about a year in
Mm-hmm.
high school, his senior year. So once he started to get into it, he both my dad and my brother like heavily influenced me to wrestle, and they were like, "You have to wrestle, you have to wrestle." And because my dad he's like also very strong, so I have a lot of his like genetics, I guess you'd say, as well. And so I just always been kind of a little bit stronger. And so my dad, he made me go to a practice. I remember walking into Kennett High School. They didn't have cracking yet, but they had
Mm-hmm.
Kennett wrestling in the high school. And so I walked in at first, and I did not want to walk into the room. I was so scared. And it was just basically a room of all boys, and I didn't want to go in there, and all these other moms were like, "You have to go in there, you have to try it." I'm honestly so glad that I did, because it's opened up so many opportunities for me. I've met so many people through wrestling, and yeah, that was pretty much like the baseline reason. And now, like, once I like started to get a couple practices in, I was like, oh yeah, I really like this. Like, now I want to be really good, and that's kind of how it took off.
How would you say like you've grown through wrestling, like confidence wise? Just kind of how was your experience growing up into a teenager to now an adult with wrestling as like your sport?
I would say that it's not just like a sport, but you can also learn a lot of, like, I guess, internal characteristics about like within yourself. I think it teaches me a lot of discipline and a lot of motivation, when even if like you can kind of put it into, like, maybe you have a job, and like when things get hard, you don't just give up, you keep going. And that's kind of how wrestling is. And like, even with like coaches and stuff, they don't let you give up. There is no, like, you walk out of a wrestling practice, and like you get a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of breaks, so you have to go through the entire practice. And even like, I just had preseason, they had some pretty tough practices, but you have to keep going and just have like the discipline to stay focused, I guess. And so it also helps with my schoolwork as well, to stay focused and just to keep striving for something better.
So PIAA, which of for those in the audience who don't know what that is, stands for Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, officially approved girls wrestling as a high school sport in the middle of 2023. And in January to March of 2024 was the first time where Pennsylvania held individual girls wrestling championships. So you were a senior at this time, correct?
Yes.
So like how is that how as far as I'm aware, you went from the transition to wrestling all boys because girls wasn't an approved, like sanctioned sport in the state of Pennsylvania or even in the
Right.
country of USA. Um, how was that like experience for you transitioning from just wrestling boys in high school, like sports, to now wrestling a whole division of girls?
I would definitely say it was definitely like, it was kind of hard being on just a boys team, because I have a lot of friends that are girls, and it was just, I don't know, it was just like a very eye-opening experience, seeing how much it's changed. But when I was like a freshman in high school, we did have state championships, but it wasn't sanctioned, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just ran by PAUSA, I think, or actually my house. And they held it at the Spooky Nook. If you're not aware, it's closer to like Lancaster,
Yeah.
and that's where they hold a lot of duels. And so my state bracket was only 12 girls, and that was in total of the whole state. Now it's grown to, there's like districts, regionals, and now states, and the amount of growth has just like, it has grown so much. It like exploded, and that's just been like a very like heartwarming moment just to see how much it's grown. Because it was the same thing kind of my sophomore year as well, how there wasn't that many girls, and then junior year started to pick up a little bit more, and then senior year it just, as soon as the PIAA came out with um girls wrestling like being sanctioned, like every girl started wrestling, and now it's been just so amazing, and it's just been a very uh like heartwarming experience just seeing all like the girls being able to achieve their goals. And my individual experience at that tournament was not very good, but it's okay.
Yeah. Um, what were some of like the emotions you felt as you stepped onto the mat in Hershey for states as the first sanctioned like girls wrestling championships?
Just being down kind of at the dock, like where you like walk out into the mats and just see the giant center and like how huge it was so cool to see. I was so excited just to walk out on the mats and see the big giant center wrestling mats. The arena was huge, there was so many people there, and it was really cool because they also had it alongside as the boys, so they had like the girls in
Hmm.
the middle, and then they had double A and triple A on each side. So it kind of gave girls like the recognition that they deserve, because as I mean the sport is, it has been more male dominated, but now it's becoming a really big sport for women, and I
Hmm.
think that's really cool that they've been able to do that.
Yeah.
So
Staying on the topic of like girls wrestling and like how is it like growing? Like, what have some of like the biggest challenges you've had as a girl wrestler, either like in tournaments, in duels, really whatever?
I'd say like the biggest like thing for me was always going to practice, and all the boys would always go with me, but it was always so hard to find a partner, like all the
Hmm.
time, especially in Pennsylvania. I would go to practice and there was always like so many like boys in the room all the time. Um, so but my main partners would be like Jameson Strickland, she goes to Sun
Hmm.
Valley, and Alyssa Mahan, she is from Delaware, but she goes to Presbyterian now. But those have been like main partners for me, and also Sienna, she goes to Downingtown. But like if they weren't there, I was just with the guys, so it was just kind of frustrating, like only going with the guys. But I can also say going with the guys has also like helped me improve so much and just like kind of prepare me to wrestle girls. So it's kind of like there's kind of pros and cons to like both sides of the story in the sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like through as seeing like my brother growing up through wrestling, I don't know. I feel like he's developed so many relationships and just like lessons that he's learned. Can you like dive into how you've learned through like friendships, like relationships, and how just kind of a little bit more how you've grown through wrestling?
Oh, for sure. I think most of the people I know today are through wrestling. Like I think almost I could say almost 100% of people that I know.
Hmm.
Like literally, I've made so many friends, countless amount of people of that I've met through Pennsylvania, through high school wrestling, through being on duels, with Misfits, and those are like some like girls duel teams, and then just being on U.S. teams and world teams made so many girls that I like would see like here and there just because they live in across the U.S. But I've made so many friends through there. I'm so glad to have so many mentors and coaches that are so amazing in my life. I now go to McKendree, and I have so many friends on this team now, and I have some really good coaches here as well. So, and also like the Kennett community, I would say it's very like tight knit, and well, it's Kennett
Yeah.
slash Kraken. All the moms are and dads are really nice, and they've helped me whenever I needed it the most. So I'm just so thankful for the family and the environment that I've been surrounded by because I've joined the sport.
Hmm. So, in my opinion, you and a few other girls that I've seen, like as I'm growing up in wrestling, you guys are like pioneers for women's wrestling, especially in Pennsylvania. But I feel like the person that I've always seen as like I don't know, I imagine people like looking up to you because of just how amazing you are in wrestling. Like you've gone on to win third in your weight class in the world in like the world championships in 2023. and you've been a qualifier now this summer. Was it this summer in Turk? Where
Yeah.
am I thinking of? I don't know. You have like so many state medals. Like it's honestly just incredible. Like your excellence and achievements of how you've like just grown through this sport. So say like I was somebody who wanted to start like wrestling tomorrow. What advice would you like give to me like before I went into the mat, before I went to a tournament, whatever?
I would say just to stick with it and just like give it some time. Because when I first started wrestling, I was a little bit frustrated. There's some girls and like I guess just some people that were like better than me, obviously, because I just started and I got like frustrated a little bit. But just like putting in the work and the effort every single day, I would say show up every single day. Like don't skip like practices and it can be as little as once you get to the higher levels like not getting enough sleep at night, not eating the right foods. That could be the deal breaker of you winning a national tournament and getting second or third or even all American or being an all American or not. So I
Mm-hmm.
would just say like to really dial in on each and every single aspect. But you know, some girls they have different goals. Some want to be state champion, some want to be a world champ. So I mean, you just have to kind of put your goals towards like what you're kind of like achieving, I guess you could say.
Okay. I feel like that's such a good mindset to have, like just to completely dial in. And I've seen it so much in wrestling through like my brother or other girls that I've seen
Mhm.
wrestle. It's just
Yeah.
like I feel like you have to have the right mindset. And it's definitely like you put so much work into it. It's like literally blood, sweat, and tears. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, it must be so frustrating sometimes when you don't get the results that you want. But like I feel like it's almost a learning experience for you, you know?
Yeah, with wrestling, wrestling owes you nothing. Like you have to you can be like a champ this year and then the next year you'll get like eighth or something. Like you have to consistently get better
Hmm.
and put in the work every single day because there's people like working just as hard or if not harder every day and they're going after the same thing as you. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to switch the topic a little bit to college women's wrestling. As far as I've been aware, like that's kind of a new sport, like for divisions, like divisions 3, 4, 1. Like, what was the
Mhm.
experience like when you started your senior year? Did you know you wanted to wrestle in college?
Yeah, well, so in the beginning, when my dad was still here, I was gonna take a gap year, and
Hmm.
I would because I wasn't really sure because the better colleges are more out towards like Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, and that's very far from Pennsylvania. That's like 14 hours,
Hmm.
and my dad didn't want me to go far, so it was kind of like I wanted to wrestle in college, but I wanted to go to a like a good college, not just like a school in PA that was just like not as good. But there are some good schools in PA as well, but I definitely knew that I wanted to wrestle in college though. But now I like took a visit to Iowa, took a visit to McKendree and Lock Haven, and then I was here on my visit at McKendree, and I was with Coach Boyer, and I signed right on the spot in front of my coach or um my coach now, Alexio,
Hmm.
and I'm very glad that I did because it's an amazing sport team and he's a great coach as well. So,
Yeah.
and then we had our first nationals, well, my first nationals last year, and I got second, so not really what I wanted, but it's now it's going to be an actual NCAA sport as well. So now this is going to be the first year that they have the NCAA, like an actual NCAA tournament. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, it's
So,
truly amazing how quickly it's grown. Like you said earlier, like I feel like it's something that I hadn't heard of 7 years ago when my brother was wrestling. Like I feel like you were the only girl that I knew that wrestled. And now it's like
hmm
I see all sorts of things, like even just in regular tournaments, there are girls wrestling on different mats, like on like the same mats boys are wrestling. It's truly just like so amazing. What would you say like the were like the biggest changes or transitions you've gone through in the past year or so with like in terms of wrestling, like the switch from high school to college wrestling?
I would definitely say for girls a little bit. I could definitely see the little switch in high school and college because in high school I felt like I could kind of use my strength a little bit as leverage over some of the girls. And maybe the technique wasn't as like technically sound, but once you get to college, like I would say pretty much all the girls are like your strength are a bit stronger. So you really have to dial in on your technique, and like the sequence could be in a matter of seconds, like that you have to like see it and really catch it. like at that time. And if you're like, for example, if you're faking and then you're going to like and you're going to the other leg, you have to be very quick with it. There is no like stopping, pausing, like because you won't get it on some of these like higher college level girls. So
Who are some of your like biggest inspirations or influences? This can either be like on or off the mat, like a wrestler or a non-wrestler, really anybody.
I would definitely say my biggest inspiration is my dad, even though he's not here. But he's very like he would always push me like all the time to be a better wrestler all the time, and even just a better person off the mat as well. And just pushing me every day to like do more, wrestle more, do more like practices, and just I would do workouts with him as well.
Hmm.
And he would always try to like help me like be better. And even though he didn't really understand wrestling the way that like he wouldn't totally understand what he was watching, but he wanted me to do better, and he always like gave me a really good environment to thrive in, like all the time for me to like get better, and as well as he did the same for my brother. So
Hmm.
I would
I
definitely say
also, yeah, I wanted to bring up the topic of your brother. He is like doing truly amazing in high school wrestling. I think he had his 100th win sometime last year, which is, I think
oh
for a
yeah,
junior,
he's
100
doing
wins.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100 wins isn't very common for a junior. Um,
it's yeah,
so
especially in Pennsylvania as well.
yeah. How would you like describe your relationship with him through wrestling? Like, how has it grown?
Oh yeah, me and my brother are very close. He's he's kind of a goofball, but I am too, so it's fine. And he's like we both would we started wrestling when I started wrestling I was about like 112, and when he started wrestling he was 80 pounds. So once I started to like understand wrestling, I used to like beat him up, and like he would like we would always like wrestle back and forth, and then he started to grow bigger than me, and then he started to beat me. So it's kind of like that sibling rivalry, like we would always do that in the practice room. And like now he's just a lot bigger and stronger now, so there's no me coming back at him. But it's I think it's made us become closer. So I'm really proud of everything that he's been able to achieve, and I think for sure he'll definitely place at states this year.
Hmm.
Um,
He lost
yeah,
in the blood round, right? Or
yeah, I think he lost in
yeah.
the blood round last year.
What would you say like your favorite memories from wrestling have been?
Um, I think my favorites are definitely traveling internationally on these USA wrestling teams, because you get to go see new countries, and then also you're surrounded with a team of girls that are like-minded like you, and then also are, going for international medals as well. So it's been a really fun time being on some of those USA wrestling teams.
Hmm. What are some of your upcoming like matches or tournaments for the people that can watch on like Flow or something like that? Looking forward. What do you got?
So I don't think this is streamed or anything, but we have our wrestle off on October 22nd,
Hmm.
and that's just like for the spot on the team. And then our first competition, I want to say it's the 8th, and it's at the Adrian Duels. I think that's in Michigan. And then this following day is the Open. So that's our first competition. And then we just do a bunch of duels and opens throughout the season, and then towards the end in March is when the actual national tournament is.
I think I'm like running out of questions a little bit, but we're gonna do rapid fire questions real quick just to like wrap it up. Um,
Okay.
what are your plans after college?
So right now I was starting well, I was majoring in accounting,
Hmm.
and I was having good grades and stuff, but I think the idea of just being an accountant and just sitting like doing a bunch of office work wasn't like really appealing to me. So
Yeah, I can't
I
see you doing
changed.
that to be honest.
Yeah, a couple people have told me that. But so then I changed it a couple times. This is a little crazy. But I changed it to criminal justice, to be a police officer. And then but I'm also like, if you know my personality, I'm very like not confrontational, not very like
Yeah,
going after people. So I can't really see myself doing that
yeah.
either. I get scared very easily. So then I was like, you know what? I like working with kids. So like let me be a teacher. And then I was like, that doesn't really make any money. That'd be terrible. So then
Yeah.
I just,
You gotta pay the
so now
bills.
I'm majoring in business, which is more versatile, and I feel like you can do like a little bit more with a business degree. So hopefully something with business is what I'm trying to go for now. So I'm
Okay.
hoping, yeah.
What's the best advice someone has ever given you?
Mm, that's a good question. I don't
It's a hard
know.
question, honestly.
I gotta think about that one. I think people like a couple people told me you can do anything you set your mind to. So like at first, like obviously I didn't think I could ever win a world medal, and that was when I first started wrestling. I didn't even think I could be a state champ. But I put my mind to it and continued to work at it every day, and it happened. So
Would you rather wrestle folk or freestyle?
definitely freestyle. I used to like folk style a lot more, but I just getting out on bottom is not my favorite, and
Yeah.
holding people down on top isn't my favorite either. But I think I like freestyle a lot more.
What's the best like match you've ever wrestled?
Best match,
Yeah.
I think probably for third place at Worlds a couple years ago.
hmm I think I'm honestly out of questions right now. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yeah, of course. Best of luck in your
Okay,
college wrestling season. All right. Bye
okay,
bye.
bye.
That's all we have for today's episode. If you've made it this far, thank you so very much for listening. I would like to thank Mr. Bosch, Mr. Ostrov, Mr. Ivory, and Kennett Futuretti for helping me get this project up and running. An additional thanks to Haylie Jaffe for helping me with this first episode. You are literally amazing. Again, thank you so much to everyone who's listened. I'm so excited for the future of this podcast and the episodes to come. I've been Marley Langle, and I'll see you next episode.